If you don't mind, I'm going to switch back to right-handed.
I appreciate that a lot.
No problem. I never liked teachers that are like, well, just do it right-handed. It's like,
Yeah.
well, if they could, wouldn't they?
Yeah.
They've kind of been told that all their life, haven't they?
I mean, if I was in the like 1600s, I'd
Oh, yeah.
I can't do anything right now.
My mother went to Catholic school, so they forced her to write right-handed.
Oh yeah.
And
Yeah, I was
Yeah.
forced to. Yeah.
You were?
Yeah. I was like, they're like, right hand is the right hand, and left hand is for toilet. And I was like,
Oh my god.
yeah.
But I do certain things with the life.
Yeah.
That's it.
So, but what was interesting about that story is that my grandmother, Irish Catholic woman in the 50s, so we can't really assume progressive, knew enough to tell my mom, like, no, you're left-handed, so when you're home, write with your left hand.
Oh.
Aww.
Yeah. You know, so it's like, okay. So if I'm gonna go for like a 2-pound cereal bowl, it's the same process, right? I indent, I pull, make sure it's smooth. Push in, come up. I watched you, like you pushed it too far past the base, so you want to keep it within the bounds of where the base is. That's usually where people get the most trouble. I mean, you got wiggle room. You can play with it, but you just don't want to go crazy. See how much I just took off. It's like this is something you would see at a restaurant. They're serving you like a salad as a meal, like this kind of size bowl.
So you said 2 pounds here with a lot.
There you go. All right.
That's like my goal by the end of this semester. Yeah, right? No, I didn't. Yeah. Out of what? Oh no.
There are two main keys to throwing bigger. Okay. One, softer clay. Don't try and throw big with like anything that feels stiff. Make sure it's soft. It's going to be physically easier on your muscles. I asked this of my old professor when he was throwing a 50-pound platter. I said, what's the key here? He's like, soft clay. You don't want to kill yourself, right? So that's number one. Number two, I learned this through a lot of trial and error. Do not fall prey to the idea like, oh, because I have a lot of clay, I can do something crazy. Don't. You got to keep it the same shape. You got to keep it simple. Don't try and like throw something that you normally wouldn't throw. So if you can do a cylinder at 1 pound, just throw a cylinder at 3 pounds, at 5 pounds. You can throw a bowl at 1 pound. Keep it that way. Don't try to push it past where you think it is, because basically the laws of physics work no matter what the size is. So the shapes work to a certain point, and when you try and push it past that point because you think you can, because you got more clay, that's when you have trouble. So you can see what I just did. Everything is the same step. I'm not, just because I had 2 pounds over 1 pound, I didn't do anything different. It's all the same. Now this being a bigger bowl, probably going to leave it on here for the moment. All right, I'm going to let it stiffen up. Rushing that is never a good idea. So, 4-pound serving bowl. See how I move my arm here? Really tuck it in, right? But straight V shape.
Yeah.
Nothing different.
So impressed.
Thank you.
Alright.
Try not to go crazy thin. You're going to want to have some thickness for durability. A lot of people get obsessed with this idea of thin. Thin is not always good. As a matter of fact, more often than not, just breaks real easy and breaks your heart at the same time. So really I only do about 2 pulls for that. Trim that down.
What's the heaviest piece of clay you've done with?
Gone up to about 20 some odd pounds.
What do you
In a vase.
Like a really big vase?
Really big vase.
Like a really big one? Super duper big?
Usually my comfort zone is around like 10 to 15. Once you're starting to go like that big, you're running into like some logistical issues of how much is it going to cost to fire? Do they even have space for this to be fired? Like, everyone wants to go big. Big is fun, but it's a pain in the ass. Going big is not always the easiest thing.
This one? 10.5-ish. Well, I use a lot of clay in this one, so.
Make sure you always clean the clay off your tools, because if you don't, it's going to get stuck. It's like magnets, they'll just like kind of attract to each other. And they make a larger size of red rib that you can also get. As soon as I can touch my hands together, I always do it. Keeps me from like going off kilter. And if you notice the thickness here, it's about 1/4 to 1/2 inch. I'm not trying to push this to be like super thin. I always take off like at least the top 1/4 inch because it's always the weakest clay. And this I'll definitely keep on the bat for a little while. I'll take it off by the end of tonight, but I'm definitely going to not rush this to take it off, because if I do,
Right.
it's going to warp.
Right.
That's one of the things I like about these square ones. They're a lot easier to just like pick up and take off.